7:03, if you would do the roll, Ron.
Sure. Rich Gussenberg,
Here.
Sarah Stevens Morling, Jeff Solon, Greg Rosenblatt,
Here.
Chris Daddy, Megan Rockwell,
Here.
Dennis Ryu,
Here.
Chuck Neff,
Here.
Sean Kimball. Here.
He's
He's here. Okay.
Okay, Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sarah's not here. I have not received any public correspondence that I'm aware of, and there's no one here from the public with comments. So we'll go right to number 4, approval of the meeting minutes of August 8th, 2024.
I'll
Have a
move to
motion?
approve the motion, or approve the minutes.
Right. Second, Dennis? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed?
Here, I wasn't here, so.
1, 2, 3, 4, to 1. Chairman's report. I put on the agenda the second page of some important meetings that are coming up. We've asked that you hold on to September 5th at 6 o'clock when we get the estimates in for the North End School. If we need to make adjustments, we would have a short meeting on that at that evening. North End School final plans would be coming to us and the Board of Ed on September 9th. And we have a joint meeting with the Board of Ed on September 12th at 7 o'clock at Humiston School to approve the plans. Similarly, for Norton School, we ask that you hold on to September 19th at 6 p.m. in case we need to make some adjustments there. And then the Norton School final plans will come to us and the Board of Ed on September 23rd. And we have a joint meeting with the Board of Ed at Humiston School on September 26th. So this is attached to the agenda that I sent out to you. Report to the Town Council. I did meet with the Town Council on May 14th. No, can't be May 14th. That date is obviously quite wrong. But I met with them on August, whatever it was, so I can look at the date.
13 here.
13, okay, on August 13th. Went through the dates that I had just explored with you, talked to them about the fact that we have time set up with the state to review the plans on September 18th for the North End, October 2nd for Norton, that we are on schedule at this time and hope to be going out to bid in mid to late October with construction beginning in mid to late December. I had gone out to the 2 sites and taken some slides. I showed those to the Town Council so that they could get a feel for some of the work that's been going on at this point. And we had a couple of questions from board members. One was regarding the Sharon Drive access and where the gates would be located and how that would work. So I explained that process and the fact that the gate would be inset somewhat so that an emergency vehicle could get in, hit a button, open the gate, and then come through. And also describe the fact that Sharon Drive will be used by construction personnel during construction and then by the teaching staff while we're taking down Norton and building the parking lot there. And then there was a question regarding the North End because there evidently was a truck that was doing donuts on the property, which I was not aware of. The Town Council member said, "You must be aware of that," and I said, "No, I wasn't." And so they wanted to know, what was up with fencing, and I said, "We are in the process of fencing the entire site." And I was up there the other day, the fencing is coming along
closer.
quite well. And then I just shared with them quickly our Facebook page so that they could see that and some of the pictures we're putting on there, things like that. We have, I think, about 400 people who are following our Facebook page so that they can stay up to date with some of the project work that's happening. So that was that. And then, as committee members, you have had an opportunity to review the North School plans and send any input that you had regarding that review. And the deadline for the Norton plans is August 30th. So if you have any input that you want to share, please get that to me by the 30th if you would. Chris, there's a seat right here. We would not want you, all by yourself over there.
The whole reason I was late, so I could sit
Yeah,
down.
right.
I had to plan that. Oh, this is just my fault.
Going to church and no one sits in the front, they all go way in the back. Okay, that's it. Financial procedures, we have no submitted invoices.
No invoices this week.
Okay, and no change orders.
I don't believe we do.
No, not ready yet.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right, and we're moving right along. CM at Risk, Phase 1 construction update and schedule update.
Yes, well, I think everybody met Ryan Benoit, is our senior project manager for
Chris,
phase 1 as well as phase 2 of the project.
Chris? This is
Yep.
Ryan.
So I think we just have Ryan, he actually went out and took some photographs of the site, of actually both sites, and he's gonna go over, give you a quick dissertation of what's been happening out there. And
Sure. So this is the Norton School. This is the front playground area, the new playground area. We have removed all of the town removed the garage that was there, and then tree limbs have been trimmed back. The fiber mulch has been installed. The new fencing has been installed in that area. If you want to go to the next, this is just a little closer up showing the fiber mulch throughout the entire area. Go on to the next one. In the back, we have relocated that drive so that it moves out of the construction zone. On the left-hand side, we have remediated with some fiber mulch. On the right-hand side, you can see that's just the loam. Today, they did hydroseed that, and they actually put erosion blankets on top of that hydroseed. Rich and I's discussion, we were concerned that once the kids come back, between running across it, getting themselves dirty, as well as the grass with the grass mats down, it might be a little more deterrent for them to run over that area. So we took care of all of that. That's been completed and cleaned up. There's just several pictures of the different areas of that area, so you can move forward, please. Again, just along that area, as I said, it stated was hydroseeded today.
What's the dumpster way in the back for?
That is the school's.
Oh, okay.
Yep, that is not ours. So this is from the driveway, from Sharon Road, looking through the new driveway, the clearing that has been done. There's more work that is going to occur here. Obviously, they didn't want to remediate this area until they bring in the large culvert, and that is scheduled for the beginning of October. If we go to the next slide here, you can see down closer, we have set up the erosion control around the stream to protect it. It held up well during that very large rainstorm. It did pond up in that area quite a bit, but it moved through pretty quickly after a day or so. And as we get closer to getting the culvert in there, they'll do some remediation, to bring in some gravel to create tracking pads, and then create a drivable lane here, and then clean up the areas around that drivable lane for the duration of the 2 years till we get to the final product, where we're going to bring back in all of the final plantings and gates and grasses and everything there.
And this is as wide as it's going to be?
Yes. Yep.
What's the surface gonna be when you're driving through there with construction?
It'll be a gravel based, so it won't be a paved surface as of yet, but it'll be a gravel base in there. Typical what we do on our laydown areas is just a compacted stone and loose gravel. So that is pretty much the extent of the Norton project as of right now. We are demobilized from there until the culvert comes in maybe a week or so beforehand. We'll start to get back in there and start to do some work to get ready for that. And then this is the north site, so this is they're continuing their excavations, removal of topsoil and stockpiling it. They're also started compacting the subgrade in the footprint of the building pad. So we've had TestCon, our testing agency, out there every day this week doing compaction testing as they work their way through the future footprint of the building site. This is just a picture of the fencing going in. It's a continuous process. They're hoping to be done by the end of next week. That when I drove by this evening, they were halfway down Marion Road with all the posts, almost every post set in on Jarvis. So that'll be the next step, is making that turn, finishing Marion Road, making the turn down past the house, and connecting with what is going to be our main construction entrance to the site off of Jarvis.
The fence will go in front of the house?
There will be a fence in front of the house with a gate in there, so the house will stay within our construction zone.
Okay.
Originally, I think the plan showed the fence going behind it halfway through the yard. We're going to abate that in the future. We want to make sure there's a good separation between where that house is and the public, especially with the lead and whatnot that we have to clean up at that site. So by putting the fence out at the road and putting a gate there, we can utilize that house as our office trailer, but also keep it separate from the public.
Yeah, gives you a little more security that way.
Yep. So this is just showing the fencing. This is at the back of the site, this is the stockpiled, I guess you would say
It's pesticide impacted.
pesticide impacted soils. So we worked with Eagle Environmental they monitored while we excavated this area, stockpiled it, and this is how we were directed to contain it. And then I believe this material is going to be worked back in eventually into the subgrade of the project. But for now, they're going to stockpile it and maintain it there until we get to phase 2.
That little teeny pile?
Yep.
Is that it? Are
Yep.
they done?
That's the small contaminated spot until we get to the
That one
house.
spot that they found.
Gotcha. Okay.
I thought it was a lot more than that.
Yeah, I thought it was.
There is, but there's different levels of the chemical. So when you stay under a certain level, the vast majority of the site was under, or the contamination was underneath that level that the state requires, and this was, small area was over that level. So there's just more pictures of the erosion and the fence going in at the back of the property. They started at the back because it's the deepest area to get, and it's the downhill area to protect any runoff. So, just showing the erosion control and fencing there.
You guys have some sort of program, like every few days you walk it or check it, or after?
So after
an event?
every rain event, they do a full erosion control review. Walk the entire site, and they do a report on it. So I think it's after. Well, I think it's a half an inch is what it calls for. If we get half an inch of rain or more, then they do a full inspection of the entire erosion. But the super on site, both ONGs and Richards does a weekly walk of that.
That's usually the first thing that you see on any site, it's just
Yes.
gets
Yeah.
the strike.
But that will get maintained throughout the entirety of the project. That's required. So we'll make sure that happens. That may be the last slide.
Yep.
Yep.
That's the last page.
Not a whole ton of pictures from that area, but that we are. I went by there today. They've cleared a lot more of the topsoil, and they're stockpiling it all along Marion Road in the area where we have the big pile that they have to build
Yeah,
up.
the
So.
pile near Marion is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of topsoil there.
Thank you very much, Ryan.
You're welcome.
Schedule?
I handed out just a 2-pager, which is pretty much just doing what Tecton has in their update, what you've already reported. So that first page is, again, just reiterating these upcoming meetings and our submittals that are due and all the reviews that are concurrently going on. So again, North End, we have all these reviews coming due today, basically being done. And then Norton is by September 6th. Those review, and then just on the flip side, is just tracking because it's starting to get closer, and just again, like a month look ahead, 4-week look ahead, we've got the PCR meetings, which you've already reported on, and we've got the going around to the AHJs getting the sign off, so that's impending as well, so that's the update that I'm providing at this point, just the upcoming approval process.
Do we have any sense of how fast the state will approve?
Well, I've
Or is it
allowed
PCA?
3 weeks, which is reasonable.
I just remember when we went up with phase 1, it seemed that we had to keep going back and forth with various information. I didn't know whether that would help us
That should
to
help
move
us,
it
yes.
along much quicker in
The 3
phase
weeks
2.
should be reasonable,
Okay,
all right, but we cannot go out of it without their approval, so.
right.
Laurel, the last schedule you had, or that I have, August 7th, was 6 pages. We're down to 2. Just curious what happened to those other 4.
This is just to go over the meetings. I usually do the updates the first meeting of the month.
Yeah, we usually do a full schedule. I put it on the calendar every time anyway, just to get an update. rather than go through the full thing.
Alright, so this is just what's coming up in the next 4 weeks
The
with
next
trustees'
meeting, you'll have the
approvals.
full schedule.
Yeah.
Do we have on the schedule, the review comments are due today? What's the strategy on circulating them? Just an email? Do you think they'll be emailable?
They should be emailable,
Okay.
yes. I don't know if he's gonna give it in a spreadsheet or a PDF format, but we'll certainly,
Who's that from?
from Versteeg Associates and from Maki and from Van Zandt.
And do we have yours? Are you
No,
providing?
I'm holding out until Monday. I got 2/3 of mine. I got mine.
Whoa.
I got mine.
I'll allow it.
Our MEP guy, he's almost done.
A modest suggestion would be is if we can get them electronically too, it may help with maybe just putting them all in one Excel and just different tabs, because
Right.
there's,
Yeah, so the source file versus a PDF.
because we started one for the owner's comments, and if there's overlap in the comments, it might be easier to have them all in one share file.
Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna reach out to the consultants tomorrow, and I will suggest that we get it
Yeah.
in Excel format.
Well, I have had committee members ask, not when those were coming in, but whether the committee would see those comments.
The committee wants to
I
see
think
them, we
they
can-
want to get, more than anything else, they want to get a sense of
Yeah, we
how
can-
thorough these various groups are.
As we do with everything else, we'll circulate them through the chair, and then you can distribute.
Okay. The other question that's come up is just if you could talk to a little bit about, well, because Tecton's coming up now anyway.
Sure.
Little bit about what process you go through at Tecton in terms of reviewing
Yep.
all of this. Because I know some of the items that came up on the part of committee members, they were looking, saying, how closely are these things being proofread? I would have thought they would have picked these up.
Yep.
Is that ongoing, or is that, I have not had a lot of experience with 90% plans and,
Yeah.
and what
Yep.
should be there and what, is coming.
Yep. So we have a senior principal, his entire job is to do independent peer reviews of all projects in the office. He gets the same set, the 90% set that everybody else got. We take his comments, so he marks them up in this program, Bluebeam review with comments, and then our team makes the modification and changes the comment to accepted. So there's an internal peer review process.
And he's continuing to do that?
He does that at the 90% set, and then he'll do it again before we go out to bid.
Okay, so
Yep.
that's ongoing
Mhm.
now. So for instance, I know that there were some places where there were still items that were yellowed out, and committee members were saying, oh, how come they didn't pick that up
Yeah,
yet?
there's a couple still loose ends, there's a couple details that, a couple sheets that need to be filled in, certainly, yeah. So those will be, the idea is that all of those will be picked up and finalized between the 90% set and,
So you'll go through
Research
that, we will get reviews from other people that the committee can take a look at. That'll all get incorporated, and then when we get the final plans,
yeah.
they-
And I don't know if we moved.
Yeah, I
to
guess we
section.
kinda skipped right up to
Yeah.
you guys.
So I can go over what our strategy is for the owner's comments, and you guys can tell us if you want us to adjust it, but rather than just say, yeah, we'll pick it up, or yes, it's gonna be, detail was addressed on, sheet such and such, so that it can be like tied back to, the document. So I'll go over that in a minute.
Okay.
Just one other quick thing on the schedule that came up when we were coordinating with our consultant team during that meeting was the phase one at North End. When do we have so the site contractor's responsible for surveying the work when they're finished. Do we know when that is compared to when we're going out to bid? Because that really needs to be in the bid package, right?
But
Because
we will issue it, O&G will issue it, because we're
You'll
gonna
issue
get
it.
it, yes, because I noticed there's no survey in North End.
so.
And I had that as a comment, it's like, well, no, I need to take that out because we need to provide the survey.
Okay, so I was talking to Benish about that
Mhm.
because, what they see versus what's gonna be out there So, okay, so you're gonna take care of that.
We're gonna take care of the north end survey, yes. So
I-
when is it gonna happen? They have to be done, so,
Yeah, we might put it back, we might put the survey, the original survey, back in the set for the PCR, so the reviewer at the state
Yes.
doesn't question
yep,
why we don't have a survey.
yep,
And then we can just,
yep.
I guess,
Submit as
add
an
it or
as-built,
add
so-
it, yeah.
as an as-built survey,
Yeah.
right? then.
Okay, I'm gonna go to owner's rep and then I'll come back to
Okay,
it.
yep.
Rich, can I just
Yeah,
kind of follow up to one of your
Yeah.
questions?
Yeah, definitely.
Jeff, could you talk, just following up on his question as to what's being done for review? I'm guessing that the senior principal reviews the architectural plans. Is there any sort of process, and if there is, what is it, for ensuring that your sub-consultants?
Well, he reviews the entire set. Yeah, and so what, I'm sure you're familiar with the review in Bluebeam. So we're running, so he's doing his own review, and it's civil, it's the entire set. And then our team that's working on the set is also, they have a marked up set. It's basically like a share file, and everybody puts their comments in it, and so, and it's the old red line and highlight. It's now all in the computer. So our team's doing that, and our Robert Amatuli is doing the peer reviews for the entire set. Does that answer your question?
I think so.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions?
Sorry, Rich.
No, that's fine. I don't want you to ask those things. Owner's rep, space standards response from the state.
So we're working with the superintendent to put together a letter for the space standards waiver. It was submitted, excuse me, it was submitted in the springtime. They came back with some questions. We formulated a response based on feedback that we got from Jeff Sullivan and the school department, and then we submitted it in July. We recently got an email from the OGA that said that, you know, they're not in agreement with the space waiver exceptions, and so at this point they're not accepting any space waivers. Our office, you know, so the OGA is not providing any reimbursement on the project as of yet. Now, you know, the big dollars haven't started coming. We do have some costs that have been incurred by the town, but you haven't received any reimbursement. The state always waits until, you know, they settle out any kind of space waivers before they start the reimbursement process, because it affects the reimbursement rate. So it's delaying any reimbursement that the town is getting. We can continue to go back and forth with you know, providing an update or a response to the state on the space waivers, but you know, I think our feeling is that, you know, it will delay any kind of reimbursement that the town is going to get, and we feel at this point we should probably just, you know, put the space waivers aside and move forward. It might be something that we can address in special legislation.
Do we have any idea how much money is involved?
We haven't calculated that, but you know, it will affect, because of the size of the square footage, that you're not going to receive any reimbursement on.
So it has no actual impact on us in terms of construction. What its impact is on the reimbursement.
It's a reimbursement.
That the town
Yeah.
will receive.
Yeah.
And you know, whenever we have something that's not reimbursable, it lowers that from that 50% down to a lower percentage.
That's correct. We always knew that there was the target rate and then the effective rate, and you know, there was always going to be ineligibles. We thought that that we would be able to get some sort of a waiver on the space, and that we would be able to get reimbursement for that. But at this point, the state is saying that, you know, they don't believe. In fact, their words are, let's see here. It says that the waiver doesn't appear to include a clear explanation or specific description of how the program of, in this case, Norton, represents an extraordinary need beyond that which is typically required under Section 504, free appropriate public education. So So they basically pushed back and said that, that they don't believe the explanation that's been provided by, the school department meets any standard for a waiver.
So it's a proportional reduction of your reimbursement. So you have your number of students times your maximal allowable gives you X square footage. You're over that, they're just taking that percent and reducing it. So it's not like they're not paying for this area of the building, it's just a proportional reduction.
Do you have any idea off the top of your head how much we are over at each of the buildings?
It should be, I don't know if I have the letter.
Like square footage? Square footage.
Yeah, the square footage, it's,
I thought it was like 2,000 at Norton.
we're not.
Norton, we added 2 classrooms.
Let's see, on the north end school, we are over by 6,000 square feet. And on Norton, let's see, Norton, 2,100 square feet.
So Norton, I think, is basically the 2 special needs classrooms that we added.
That's correct. Yeah, North End was the whole birth to 3 program.
Well, how would we birth to 3? It would be the preschool.
Preschool.
And birth to 3 is not reimbursable
Right.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the pre-kindergarten program.
So the suggestion in our office is that that this be addressed in special legislation, something that we can go back for and pursue in special legislation, which I think we were going to do with the new legislation that came out in July for the birth to 3.
No, for the pre-kindergarten.
I'm sorry.
Just don't say that at the PCR.
I will be on mute, Jeff.
How does the town go about working with our legislators to do special
Yeah, I mean,
legislation?
we have a close relationship with our delegation, and they would put forward something, again, I'm assuming it would be a regular session, so that's not until next
Next spring.
January.
Yeah.
Would probably get voted on until the middle, or even as late as May or June, so that's,
Yeah.
I don't know how, I mean, I think from I was pulling up some of Jim Jascott's, amortization schedules for all of the debt service that we have. I think we did anticipate some reimbursement as early as soon as construction was starting, we were starting to anticipate some
Yeah.
offsets, so it could have a consequence of affecting how much we have to bond the next bond issuance in February. I'd have to talk to Jim about exactly how much that is.
Well,
Because you were saying we wouldn't get any reimbursement
No,
until-
the state holds that up until they determine exactly what your reimbursement rate's gonna be, and they base that on, what is your, square footage. And so, since we've been going for a waiver,
Right.
they've kinda held up on that process. I mean, we're ready to actually start requesting reimbursement. As a matter of fact, I think Emily has already prepared reimbursement number 1, but because.
But if we want to get the space, if we have to get the space waiver, we have to wait for that to be accomplished before we get any, right?
If we want to continue pursuing it, then it will continue to delay reimbursement. If we just say, okay, we're not going to go for a waiver anymore, we'll go for special legislation. That's something that we will do next session, which is next year sometime. But then it'll allow us to start getting reimbursements.
Do we have any reason to go back? I mean, is there
I-
other information that would?
I don't think so. I think that we've given them the best information that we've been able to provide them, based on the feedback from Jeff and from Vin and from, people in the school department.
So the odds are, if we continue to push it, all we're gonna do is delay the inevitable.
That is correct.
And get them upset.
Hmm?
And get them upset.
And get them upset. At some point, I'm sure, but, comments from people around the table?
Is it the same thing then with like the special waiver we were looking to get? Not like this, but like that legislation that came out? We'd still be delayed for
No.
that as well?
No. Once
So we can still get that, it's possible.
that's down the road, that's possible, right, exactly.
That also would be special legislation.
But it wouldn't delay being able to
No.
get
No.
reimbursement.
No, because that, we don't qualify for that now. We would go ahead, we would do our work, and then special legislation next spring would say, guess what? You can have that also, even though it was passed after you had your approvals. Assuming the legislature would support that. So that would come from the town then, though, that's not gonna come from this committee. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can coordinate something that explains it to the council, they would recommend it.
So you don't need a motion or anything at
There's
this
no
point?
motion. Yeah,
We,
no, yeah.
we've applied for a space waiver, it's been denied, we're moving ahead, unless I hear something different from the people around this table.
We will signal to the state that we're not pursuing the waiver any longer, and then that should clear the path for the reimbursement
And
payments.
then we'll recommend to the town that they put it on their list of special legislation. Okay. Alrighty, open item log.
So the open item log, passed it around, it's a lot shorter than it has been in months. Again? There are three things. One of them is the trees and shrubs, which, while the trees and shrubs are out of the right of way, it was something that was also on the CD comments. So we decided to keep it in here as a pending, just to make sure that that it's addressed. It's just so that, you know, the trees and the shrubs are not planted so close to the right of way where they get entangled in the roots. And then the other two things were the CLA contract and the builder's risk policy. So
Anything new on that CLA contract?
I did not have a chance to reach out to CLA this week. I will put it on my items of things to do for tomorrow. I'll reach out to Mike LaPrima. He's usually pretty good about getting back to me. But Sean, unless I'm mistaken, I don't think you've received the contract yet.
We were emailing earlier today. He
Okay.
sent it through a contracting platform called Outlaw that I can't seem.
Oh,
He sent me an email saying he sent it, but I can't. It's getting blocked somewhere.
okay.
Maybe because it's called Outlaw. But
Suspicious
that
right
is
there.
Yeah, exactly. So I've looked in my spam. I've looked in the quarantine. I can't find it, but he said he did send it. So
Okay.
it was middle of last week. So I'm still going back and forth on it, trying to figure out.
Okay.
Go here.
And Dennis, obviously, I must have missed another item.
Sorry, I'll keep track of it.
I can take it offline with you, Ron.
No, it's
All right.
it's the nurse's toilet.
I think that's on your, the owner's comment list, right?
Yeah.
We cased it through to the hardware set. So, yeah, we'll provide the comment on it.
Yeah.
Yep,
It's the same comment for Norton.
yep, yep.
And Rich, if I may, what you don't see are the comments that were distributed for the CDs. I think that we determined that the better way to handle that would be as a checklist of items. So, you know, we incorporated the spreadsheet that you circulated. There were some additional items. I put those on there. We kept the sequence of the numbered items so that all we did was add to the bottom, and that way.
It's on the back here.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I included it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Rich, in
All
the
right.
back of my pack.
Okay, yep. Excellent.
Okay, contract amendments, there are none, correct?
There are none.
Now, back to architects, discussion.
Okay, in your packet that I handed out, some basic updates, and then if we could spend a few minutes just going over the comment list. We have some clarifying questions. I just want to make sure we're on the same page before we go ahead and make some changes. So, we're completed. Obviously, we issued both 90% sets. The sole source letters that Justin spoke of at the last building committee were submitted to the state. So on the 16th. So we're waiting for a response there. We'll follow up with them, but we'll probably do that on a weekly basis.
Jeff, what is to be confirmed being done fire alarm?
Say that again.
Fire alarm. It says to be confirmed
I didn't take out that note. Whatever we talked about at the last meeting, I just kinda copied it up, sorry. But, so all 4 of those were submitted as we talked about at the last meeting, yep. Item D, under work completed, OSTA, we received the approval, so that's great because it's before a PCR. It was one of the items that Laurel was tracking on her schedule. We included a copy of those letters in the packet for your record. Item E, under work completed, there's a sampling of the presentation and the blue. Justin had reviewed this probably about 2 or 3 meetings ago, but that's a sampling. We're prepping for a final meeting, working group meeting with the school district. I just want to let everybody know that we're doing that. It's tentatively scheduled for the 26th, so we're trying to get that wrapped. And once we do, we'll bring the full package back to this committee so that they're aware of what we're doing on that piece.
And that's gotta be one of the last things.
It is, yeah. I mean, other than the next phases, which are FF&E and stuff like that, but we just wanted to make sure, you know, the intent of that meeting is to circle back, making sure this is what we heard, this is what we did, confirm it. We'll bring you the full package back once we have that meeting, which we don't anticipate much coming out of that other than just general approval. And then item F is the response to comments received at the Playscape meeting. There are a couple items in here that I want to make sure folks are aware of. Let me zoom out here and go the pages. So on the Playscape, what they have now for the pre-K program out at their current site is a larger kind of sand area. Vin, if he was here, was concerned about the extent of that sand area and the curve around it. So this plan just represents the reflection that we brought it to pretty much to that rectangular shape, and there's kind of like a curve around it to keep it kind of in that area. It's a minor detail, but I thought it was worthwhile to communicate to the building committee. The other piece that was born out of that Playscape meeting was they currently have that area covered at their current facility. We didn't show any kind of structure covering it. The LA selected 2 or 3 options to consider. Because this has an impact on scope and cost, I wanted to bring it before this committee to make sure they understood it. So it's not giving them anything new from what they have today at their current site. It's just it's replicating it. It's a detail, quite honestly, we probably should have had earlier on. We just didn't have this meeting in time to review it. So it's probably tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands. It's probably like in the 20 to 25 range for the structure. But I wanted to make sure that, and there's a couple examples here. I know there's sizes, I can certainly turn them, but it's a very simple structure to cover that play area.
Which play area is this? What school is it?
Sorry, so all of these are north, so this is the north end school.
This is all for the pre-K program, right?
Yeah, yep.
Where is there, so they have an existing covered one at Darcy?
At Darcy.
Yeah, they do, yep. Yeah, it's actually quite large.
It's kind of built into the woods
It
there.
is, yeah.
I don't think we can duplicate,
I don't know if
you know,
I
what they have presently.
I don't have, and then they have like a timber kind of enclosure and all the sands
Yeah,
there.
it's a real large area.
No, yeah, both my kids went to Darcy, I just don't remember a structure though. Me neither. Have a bad I remember the whole area, it's great. Like,
There's one there, when we went over the meeting, yeah. Yeah, and the intent is so that if it does rain, they still have, they don't have to wait for the sand to basically dry out.
oh, I know where it is, never mind. I'm picturing it.
Is it coming back
We're
to
good.
you?
Yeah, it's all
Alright,
back, yeah.
good.
It was 9 years ago.
Unfortunately, I don't have the picture of it. So it's really replicating what's there. We can certainly, we can add it as an alternate, but I felt compelled to bring it to you folks. Yeah.
So it'd be like a 30 by 20 thing to cover that one piece of playground equipment?
That is correct, and that playground equipment is lower. They selected a piece that, and I can rotate these if, so they selected a piece of equipment, and they modified this piece of equipment to have it be smaller and fit underneath, and it was more befitting of what they wanted for use. So, so this piece, that was already encumbered with the playground design, so this isn't like an additional piece. The only piece that's additional to the scope is a canopy.
They just wanted that one piece covered
Yes, that is correct.
of all the different places, all the.
Yeah, the rest of them are all playscapes that are, you know, that are larger. So it's really just the sand area.
Does it make any sense to not have sand and have some sort of artificial rubbery surface that doesn't get wet, and then you don't need a $30,000 canopy? I don't know, just thinking out loud.
I believe the sand play is integral to their program and curriculum. We did have a discussion about that at length. Our design team did, and I think they were the user group was pretty adamant that the sand is.
It's their first experience of science,
Oh, there you go.
really. I mean, I have a child that age, and that's what it is. It's measuring, it's tactile. And this piece in general, that they're using it like mechanically, and they're pulling sand up out of it.
So they actually use the sand.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so.
It's not even near my wheelhouse. I was just curious.
Sean can bring you out to the.
It's a lot of fun, yeah. There's tubes and it's pretty cool. I guess keep that up.
We broke out the playscape budget. It was originally a separate budget, and we put it into the construction budget.
Yeah.
When we go out to bid, are we gonna see specifically costs on the playscape and whether it's?
It's gonna be part of a site bid
Yeah,
package,
it's gonna be
right?
part of the package.
I mean, you can separate it out, we can certainly determine.
Well, what I wanna
the
know
value
is if we said, you know, sure, let's add this in, and then we come out
Well,
over
that-
budget on the
That's a good
playscape.
alternate.
We don't have a lot of ad
Schedule
alternates, so
of
that's why
values
it's
for the
interesting.
site contractor, right?
No, that's not, and on bid day.
Not on bid day.
No.
No, but I mean, we will ultimately have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we have, if we had the money, I personally have no problem if that's what the staff wants. And I know the staff there is very specific about the kind of program. I was there when they first walked through Darcy and talked about the classrooms and the way the lighting is set up and all sorts of stuff. So, you know, I wanna give the staff what they're looking for, but I'm also concerned, you know, if we don't have enough money, where do we cut, you know? So we could either do it as an ad alternate, or, you know, if we see that, we're over budget.
Yeah, especially an ad alt if we end up going back and
Yeah.
getting approval for that, because that would be.
I would do it as an ad alternate, absolutely.
I think the only alternate at North End is the linear wood ceilings, right?
Ceiling,
That
yep.
is literally it. Right now, you only have one ad
So,
alternate.
It doesn't really complicate things much.
No,
Okay.
that's an easy way of
It
doing
doesn't
it.
complicate it, and it puts a fixed number on it that's
Mm-hmm.
not muddied up with anything else.
And when you give us the estimate, it shows that we have lots of money left in the North End.
Laurel's already working on that.
I'm getting that stare.
See the smile already?
I'm just melting over here.
We've all gotten that stare.
So, do we have a consensus around the table that we would do that as an odd alternate, is that?
Yeah.
Is there a certain shape that they need to pick, or you're gonna let them?
Rectangle.
Okay, as far as the canopy.
They're all in a similar price range, I believe,
Oh, okay.
the LA said, so, the user, we didn't circle back with the user group as far as the shape. The one that is most similar to what they have is, let me rotate this one, is this one. So, my suggestion, because it's more of a fitting of the, you know, it's closer to the style of the building too, I would say.
What materials are that?
much though.
It would be sized for the
Oh, okay.
rectangle, sorry. Yeah, these are just kind of cut sheets. It would be sized for the size of the.
What's the material?
I believe it is metal.
Yep.
Yep, metal ribbed. Yep.
Okay.
So it's pre-finished, it's, you know, it's more of a component, it's not a custom,
Be a metal roof then?
I believe the roofing, 20 gauge grid panels, yeah.
Yeah, metal.
structure.
It's literally just intended to keep the ringing off.
Okay. Do we want a motion to approve this as an ad alternate?
I'll make the motion.
Motion. Do we have a second?
Sure.
Yeah, Sean? Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed?
Okay, I don't think.
Can the alternate include the footings too? Can you include the footings?
Yeah,
in
it'll be the whole
alternate?
system, yep.
Alrighty.
Thank you on that. So, like I had mentioned, I think we'll go over kind of the graphics and finishes, once we have that meeting, so we'll kind of table that one until later. And then I wanted to spend a little bit of time going over the owner list. I included an email, related to the elevator. I'm not sure whose comment it was, but I think I can guess. Gurney, fitting in the
Chris's.
elevator. So
Committees.
so North End is a little different because it has the pass-through. So we reached out to a few different manufacturers. As long as you have the doors, the pass-through doors on the opposite locations, the gurney does fit. So if that's I mean, we'll proceed in that fashion. I don't know if we did a vote on this, but it addresses the comment if that's acceptable. So,
I did have elevators.
yeah, so we'll take care of that. That was just one I wanted to run by, because I know that was an important piece. And
The other elevator thing that we were discussing before the meeting.
the elevator
was-
machine room,
Yeah, the machine room.
I have to chase that one down, and get you a proper answer. I don't wanna answer right at the, right
For
now.
those who don't know, the question was raised, in one plan, it shows a separate machine room for the elevator, in the other plan, it does not. So there's an assumption that they're the same elevator, and it either needs a machine room or it doesn't, but one of those plans
Well,
is
to
incorrect.
clarify, it's not an assumption. The specs call for, both specs have the exact same model called out and the same alternates. And it's, if one of the committee members looked it up, hypothetically, whoever that might be, would have seen, so it's a machine room-less
Yeah.
elevator. So Norton fits in nicely with that. There's no machine room. North End has the machine room, so my
May not
thought
be
was
needed.
is, get everybody from the board of ed together to fight it out to who wants the storage closet or an extra utility room or an IDF closet or whatever.
So the only,
Office before you go.
Bathroom.
right, the only, so you're correct, most of our projects have machine roomless elevators now. We have been locating an elevator machine room in case one of the bidders says that they can provide the system but not have a machine roomless system. So, I can circle back on that. So,
I understand what you're saying,
You know-
but again, it's like, to keep it simple for everybody, we're calling out for
yeah,
a tractor trailer with the trailer, and you're given 3 alternates, and somebody comes in and says, I could do it with a car, that's not really fair to the other bidders if it's
Okay.
not listed right.
that's what
I mean, how do you accommodate that with the other bidders to keep it fair?
We've had in the past owners ask us to locate the room, like just exactly as we said, label it as the EMR. When the bid package comes in, if you don't need it, it becomes storage.
But if that were the case, then you need one of those rooms for each building.
That's why I wanted to
So
table.
either way, something is wrong.
That's why I wanted to table it and see what.
So you'll look
I wanna
into
at
that
the
and get
plans.
back to
Yep,
us.
yep.
But if you're speccing out a machine room list, are we saying that if you see the budget numbers are over, somebody might say, hey, well, if you didn't go to machine room list, you might save $25,000 by getting one with a machine room that's traditional?
Yeah.
Or are we not, I was just looking at it, because on the spec,
Yeah.
they both had exactly the same.
Ideally, we wouldn't have a elevator machine room because most of the ones that we've been seeing come in are machine roomless. You guys can speak to your experience as well.
Yeah, I think that's the majority of
Yeah,
the elevators we see now.
but that's
are
happened
machines.
pretty, quick over the industry over the last few years.
And really, my only thought was that, if it is machine roomless, then we've got some real estate that
Sure.
Jeff and his team probably
Yeah,
want.
okay.
Those spaces will get used quickly, as an ex-principal, I can
Coat
tell you.
closet, coffee room, whatever, I'm sure
Yeah.
somebody wants it.
So I'd be happy to go over any of the items. I've highlighted a handful of the blue ones.
Yeah, why don't you go through the blue ones, and
Yeah.
then we can come back if people have
So,
other items that they
I
would
think,
like to look at.
Number 4, we talked about, I think at the meeting actually, so it's an OSHA requirement, 15 feet. I guess my clarifying question is, are we good with tie downs on the roof rather than, do we wanna move the equipment, because that's a bigger lift? One of the units, 2 of the units on north end, it's gonna be, I looked at it today with the mechanical, or are you okay, or are we, the group, okay with the tie downs at that? We're 10 feet away, we meet code,
Right.
15 feet is OSHA. I'm just asking.
Tie down
Tie down's
works.
fine, okay, alright, I just wanted to make sure before I force the folder to make some changes. Alright, thank you on that one. 14 is a minor one, spec governs on that one, the veneer ties, it's really graphical. So I don't think it's gonna impact cost or scope or anything like that, I just wanna make sure we're good
I
there.
would just be prepared for the mason going, well, it's shown on the drawings this way.
I'm pretty sure Laurel knows how we handle the
Fair
plans
enough.
and specs with which ones govern and those kind of things, but agreed. Looking forward to that conversation. 20 is the landing at the top of the stairs. So if you remember, there's 2 egress stairs. We decided to put stairs up to the roof. It would be better than kind of ladders up to the roof and roof hatches. We are going to put landings in. We are going to make that happen. I'm just fully aware that those stairs are going to be, as shown, they're going to be smaller than obviously egress
Right.
stairs. They're not egress stairs, and the door out is likely not going to be a 7-foot door. It's going to probably be an smaller access door. Okay.
That's fine.
So we worked that out. We're good there. We are going to put a gate in to make sure that it's clear that students don't go up that stair. So the bench, let's see, I might need to pull up a plan. Let me just, this is an important one. We did change it. We still have the bench. Let me show you what. We've been having, so let me try to explain this a little better here. So, before we had like a bench kind of coming down the side here, and this rail, there was a landing, and this rail kind of came out and turned because there was we've done that on a few projects and haven't been receiving great feedback on that, so we straightened the stair and put the bench underneath just because it was cleaner and nobody's, so I don't think it's kind of a lesson learned. It works both ways, but we felt like, so we still have all the functions and everything, I just, I think it's cleaner this way, so that's why we did it. I'm not sure if the committee gave me that question, so I just want to make sure we're good with that.
Is this the one we're talking about?
24. Yeah, so the stair goes straight down now, and the bench is underneath the stair.
So the bench has been moved under the stair instead of over.
Because what happens
in
is
the overhang.
the handrail, you have to come down and turn, and that turn with the extension turns too far into the walkway, and it becomes a bit of a problem when the students are running down the hall.
Like an obstruction.
Yeah. So I know that was more of a design one, but I wanted to make sure we reviewed that. Item 26. This is more of a detail. Consider adding a closure plate. We haven't been doing those, but if that's a preferred detail, we certainly can. You're just thinking about the tolerances between the wall and the
Yeah,
stair?
because the wall's never gonna be straight. And there's a lot of room.
So we
You're
can-
gonna get that look now.
we can look at it, we haven't been doing those, but we can, we'll add it. We already talked about the elevators, so both elevators are the same, 3,500 pound, and both will now, with that door shift, will accommodate the gurneys, so I think we're all set there. More on the site now, item 43 and 44. I like the suggestion of a flush curve along the front there. Just want to run that by facilities as well. I think it's a better solution. The site engineer is going to look at it grading wise. I don't think there's any issues there. I just want to, I'm going to have Justin circle back with facilities to make sure they're okay with it too. EV chargers, you're right, they do take up space. We can certainly increase it. Our civil engineer was asking how much you want to increase it. I'm just certain.
Well, if you kept the 6 feet,
Yeah,
that would work.
okay, all right, thank you. Okay, now the trees, item 46. All of the trees and site improvements have been moved. The center of the tree is 10 feet out from the easement. So
Okay.
they're satisfied. That was a bit of a, we'll do whatever the committee wants. It was a little bit of a struggle with the LA. They want the tree. They feel it's important to the design. So, but if you tell me to replace it with grasses instead, we'll do that. Are you good with moving it 10 feet?
10 feet is fine,
Well,
because
that's, the sewer's really, really deep there,
a
right?
20-foot canopy.
No, the sewer's very deep.
No, I realize that,
It's probably like 10 feet down,
more than that.
so you're gonna, even if it's 10 feet away.
So it would only be in a,
Unless you did some
if
sort of
something
shoring.
had to be done to
But they
maintain
can
the
only
line.
technically work within the right of way.
Okay,
So if they kill the tree, it's on their dime.
okay.
Right.
But 10 feet will do it.
10 feet will do it, because that would be a 20-foot canopy.
Yep. Okay. All right, thank you. And then item 51 is the vapor barrier under the slab. So we do have that, absolutely. I've yet to track down my notes. We've talked about the admixture in the concrete at length. I think where we landed was we're taking it out and using a higher performance glue for
Right.
the, so where the issue has been coming, I'm sure you, where it's been coming up is the glues for more of the more recent flooring are water-based and they don't perform as well. So we're gonna take the admixture out of the concrete and use the glue instead, because we think collectively that's a better long-term solution.
So you're putting a vapor retarder
We're putting,
under the slab?
we're putting a vapor barrier under the slab.
That should be in this,
It
the
is.
structural spec.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
So-
Stego or whatever,
Stego,
you know,
you'll have to put that back in Norton, because they took it off.
yeah, yep. I talked to the structural engineer about it today, yep. All right, let's see. And then
Yeah,
last,
so they could change their spec, because it says vapor retardant.
I talked about that too, making sure that what we call out on the drawing is how
Same
it's referenced in
nomenclature.
the spec. That is difficult to teach, but I think they heard it today. And then 62, I think we're on 62, yeah. I'm not, so there'll be exterior fire alarm devices in PA, but there's no exterior speakers.
Question was about PA for announcements or.
There will be some of that, but it's not gonna be like
Whatever.
it's not gonna be like an outdoor speaker system.
No, it's for
Okay,
announcements.
all right.
But if kids are out on the playground and you need to make an announcement,
Of that,
you could be heard.
yes, I will validate that, but that is what
For
was
emergency
communicated to me.
purposes.
In the courtyard.
Yes,
Yeah, and the court.
that is.
I didn't see them. I didn't see the fire alarm or later on I was looking at, I think I was looking at Norton after saw that there was some devices on.
Well, I know, you know,
Close
fire
up
alarm
part
units,
plan, not the overalls.
yeah, but if there were a code red or something like that, you know, I know we had people with walkie-talkies out on the playground, but I think it'd be nice also to have the access to speakers.
There's no reason why we shouldn't. We've had them on our previous projects. I will verify that to make sure that we have.
Are we using the fire alarm voice for
Yeah.
emergency notifications?
I,
Notification.
You have a spec that's called paging and clocks and emergency messaging system.
Yeah.
That's all one spec and it's a 27,
yeah,
so I would say that's not part of the fire alarm.
no,
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
Then that answers that.
Yeah.
Just curious. But the response to this was asking for clarification, what do you mean by auxiliary speakers? I meant PA,
Yeah, yeah,
which would include, in my mind, any announcement that somebody would wanna hear.
yeah, that's kind of why I'm walking through some of these, and I may need to walk through a few more of them, just because some of the consultants are answering a question with a question, so I'm just trying to run it to ground and get it resolved.
Yeah,
So,
and I'm assuming whatever PA system you set up, it can be set up so that it's only working interior versus exterior.
right.
So that you're not constantly doing things that are gonna annoy the neighbors.
I'm guessing that it has that control, but I will verify that. Yep.
Usually the two separate settings.
Yep, yep. Alright, and then, so 74, we're all set, so we're gonna align those. That was a suggestion, making sure site lighting, building lighting, all of them are basis of design, and then there's two are equals. So that's just a statement I'm not worried about. We'll pick up all that. And then the last few, the reference to Town of Wallingford, these are documents that we put in as exhibits that we didn't create, like Langen created one, and I don't know if it was, these were documents that were given to us a long time ago. So I'm not sure we have the ability to, I guess we can just go over to Bluebeam and change it, but I don't, they're, the original, I think one of them is the original phase 1. So they're not our consultants, so I can't get them to change it, I guess is what I'm saying. So
Okay, is it accurate?
it's referencing, it's probably,
Is it Town of Wallingford?
it's probably just a typo. I just letting you guys know that it's not our spec, it's something else from, I think it must have been from the grant application. You had to do a phase 1, whatever the consultant was, I think it was Langen, did that, and we include that in our front end so that they can reference the phase 1.
If it's inaccurate, does that make a difference?
Not to Scoper, to me, no. It was just a comment that I can't address.
So, that was something.
That was, yeah,
It's a good catch, but,
if nothing we do and it doesn't matter, then it's fine.
I mean, we can wait it out in Bluebeam if that's,
Yes, I don't want you to spend a huge amount of time, but
Right.
on the other hand, I hate to put anything in there that's not accurate.
I think we can do,
I don't know
I'm
if it'll
certain,
make any difference.
not that I've done it before, but we can.
While you're on your sheet, can you look at 71 and 72?
Absolutely.
It doesn't look definitive, I didn't have a chance to look at these until.
I don't, yeah, I'm not asking you to, Lardron, 71 you said?
Yeah. If you wanted to pull up the photometric plan for Portland, I can show you where that's,
Photometric plan is,
it's in the civil, it's up front.
yes. Overall, good,
Yeah, so right in the bottom, right, keep going right there.
right here,
Yep, see the main no, the main walkway, the main arch walkway.
right here,
Yep, see how there's no light right there where your cursor is right now. That
Oh,
main,
put
that
it-
main travelway has nothing. I didn't know if it should be, if anybody that wants to walk all the way around.
that's probably where he put his tree, right? We'll put a light there, that's a simple,
I'm not asking for anything to be designed, it just was an observation that didn't seem.
no, it's a good catch. That is 71.
And this 72 is also on this sheet, I'm sure.
72 is, do lights have integral photo sensors and multi-level output?
So it was about the parking lot lights, and that's just one of the methods that seems to be kind of nice. I've seen some good feedback, whereas no one's around, it drops down to like 25%.
Oh, like a setback.
And then a car pulls in, it sees it, and then it brightens up, so you're saving your energy, but you're not scary dark. It still looks illuminated.
Yeah.
You're meeting your energy code, you're dropping it down, somebody comes in. Now, I don't know if they were doing something else, just with a time clock or how they were doing it, but I was curious if the lights had that. I didn't dig up cut sheets or anything.
I don't think they do, but I can ask the
I don't know if that's something we want or not. I'm not trying to be the design engineer of the
Yeah.
project by any means, but it's, is it gonna add cost or not? I think it's a nice way to meet the code, and I think it's a nice way to keep the site lit, you know, to midnight. So after 10 o'clock, I think, is when you have to do something like that.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Okay, so you can keep the site lit till midnight, say. It'll be dim if nobody shows up. Somebody wants to drive in or do whatever, all of a sudden they're like, oh, this is a place to go, you pull in, hey, things start brightening up, you know, so if
I
you want it
guess.
lit, it's
Yeah.
good.
It's a nice idea. I'll tell you, you know, when I ran a school, when you did things like open house, you had the lights set up to shut down at, 8 o'clock or something, and open house went to 9, suddenly parents walking out, and it was pitch dark out there, because it was all on timers.
Okay.
So the way that you're talking about it, there would always be some lighting, and then that lighting would come up if there was activity.
And because of the energy code, any of the most products from most of the major manufacturers have those options with the photo sensor, with a timer, with it's programmable, and you can do different things, because the energy code has time frame, like I say, at 10 o'clock, I believe you have to drop down, and so on and so forth. So it could be all built into the fixture, as well as having a central control system that says, hey, 1 o'clock, we're off, you know.
We installed a few of those at Doolittle recently in response to some neighbor light concerns. So there's some motions and things,
All right, I will
So far-
track it down, and I don't think it's gonna have any real significant cost impact. It's probably,
I don't think so either.
okay.
And there were just a couple of other areas where the lighting seemed a little inconsistent on that site plan. If you go to the main drives in, so if you look at the left drive,
This one, or?
yeah, no, not the far left, that one. Look at that, see how it's nicely covered? You don't even have to look at the numbers, you can just look at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
plot. Go to the right. We're not covering the whole drive.
Yeah, I get
You
you,
see,
like up
so-
here, yeah.
Well, the whole route down. The whole route down, the left side of the drive is not, doesn't have the same coverage. So,
Yeah, I get you, I get you.
all I'm saying, and you're
Yeah.
hitting zeros on
Yeah.
the other side, it just seemed inconsistent. I just wasn't sure what the thought was. And there were some areas near the building, but I didn't know if that was because you're planning on building lighting that was gonna fill in. But there's
Yeah.
areas in circle, like right there, dead center, is all
Right here.
zeros.
Yeah, there'll be some, so what's not accounted for is there's canopy lighting underneath here, and then there's gonna be some ground mounted for the flags, but we'll take another spin through this, but I don't disagree with these comments. I'm wondering if they just used the wrong,
And even up
hand.
where that one stretches into Marion, where this one doesn't, which is right, which is wrong. I don't know, maybe that's wrong.
it really shouldn't spread off the property.
Right, so that's what I'm saying. I just,
And there's probably, in the response, there's a couple light, street light poles too that aren't on here, but point taken, this will definitely look at.
it's just an inconsistency that just
Yep.
drew me a question. And there, there are a couple of little spotty little holes here and there, but,
Okay.
more minor, but the driveway, that back area just seemed significant.
Okay.
Like the way this over here, what they are on now, that looks perfect, it just
Yep.
does the whole driveway, stops at the road, that looks, I would think that's what the town would.
Yep. No, these are good observations. We'll check this right side. Okay. Any other, so I went over the blue, are there any other ones that are major
Any
that?
others?
So our game plan is to, basically respond saying it's on sheet such and such and go from there. But I just wanted to make sure, show you some progress that we've made so far, so.
Now, are we at the point where if you need a clarification, you can't wait for a next meeting or whatever? I mean, do you wanna filter things to Rich, and then we could send it out to the
Yeah,
editor?
we may end up doing that, if I can't. It's probably gonna be more on the consultant questions than on ours, but I'll send them through Rich.
Send it to me,
And then
you
you
know,
can just disseminate it.
send it out to people.
It's
Yep.
real easy to answer a clarification, we meant this instead of that.
Yep.
Likelihood is I can't answer it, but I can find the people who can.
Okay, so if there's no more comments for tonight on that, I just wanted to also update you. Promise I'll be quick here. So we had some internal meetings, but we did on whenever the 20th was, Tuesday. There was an email circulated from the commissioning agent that they had concerns about the temperatures of some of the mechanical systems. We met Kohler Ronin, Tecton in Van Zelm, and this is an abbreviated, it's kind of a little bit Greek to me, but long end of the short story here is that Van Zelm had questions, Kohler Ronin answered them, they're satisfied with the general diagram of how the mechanical system works, because there was originally some questions with how the geothermal field interfaced with the heat recovery. So I think it was a good meeting. It was only about a half hour productive. I'll get formal minutes from Kohler Ronin once they have them, but those are the crib notes. And then we'll certainly see more comments from the commissioning agent. But that set their concerns, Van Zelm's concerns, they're the commissioning agent, pretty much to bed. So I just wanted to make sure you knew that happened. And then there's a lot of meetings, internal coordination meetings, just to let you know. This list is the list that Laurel and also went over. And these are all the attachments. So I think we're headed in the right direction with all these, but looking forward to the rest of the comments from the other third-party consultants.
Very good. Any other comments or?
I had a question.
Chuck?
On the sole source request letters, last meeting we talked, I thought it was only 3, but maybe it was the 4, and then there was like the bonus one that Vin was gonna get back to you on. Where does that sit?
So that, I think, was the comment before. So we submitted these 4. The real question, I believe, was, let's get them. I'm trying to recall the conversation we had last meeting. We're gonna submit all 4. If we decide not to do sole source, it doesn't matter. If we have the letter, we're in a better position. And I think it was for this last piece.
It was the fire alarm, and I
Yeah.
thought Vin wanted to circle back with
Yeah. And I don't know if
maybe his
we,
facilities guy.
I don't remember, maybe just, my guess is that hasn't happened yet, but we submitted them anyway. If we get the letter, that's great. We still don't have to do sole source if you don't want to.
Because we
No, it was
had a
building-
motion on 3 of them, and we never took the 4th one.
Yeah,
that he was supposed to
let
get
me
back
read the
on.
minutes if I could. Mrs. Stephen Morling made a motion to have a sole source request for door hardware, digital accessible fire alarm system, access control software and database management, and access control system hardware for the new North End School. Dennis seconded, the motion passed, and the same motion was done for the other school. A discussion ensued about building controls, where presently there are only 2 acceptable vendors. The committee discussed whether it should be competitively bid or have a sole source, and the cost difference was brought up by Mr. Hopkins to alert the committee the decision will need to be made in the near future. No decision or vote was taken at this meeting.
Yeah, so the control systems is still outstanding.
So, yeah, I think where we landed was 2 isn't good enough, we need 3. So there's 3 capable systems. So I think that's the route, that we're gonna go, and if that's not the route we're gonna go and we need to sole source, then we need to get a letter soon. But I thought where we landed was we were gonna add one more, and that way we're compliant, and it shouldn't be an issue. But I guess I'll circle back with Ben and make sure that that's the case.
That's where I wanted to land, so.
Oh, what's that?
That's where I thought I wanted to land, so,
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the case, I just know that we didn't vote on that sole source, that's
Well,
all.
nor did we submit
Okay.
a letter for it, so.
That's what I was getting at. I couldn't remember if
Yeah.
it was 3 or 4.
Yep.
Anything else?
So, are we getting revised drawings on the sixth? Is that the idea?
The schedule that I put in ours is for that went out to our team, so you're gonna get them on the dates that,
No, that's, I think we jive.
no, I failed to I wrote it down, but I didn't mention it, Dennis, and I knew you were gonna say something,
I got it down as the
so
ninth.
9/9.
Final plans
yeah,
coming
9/9.
to the committee
So
on the 9th.
that is for our team, our consultant team, to get them to our office, so that we can assemble them.
So you're gonna
You know.
date the construction documents for 9/6, so our final estimate should be dated the same.
Yeah.
We should use this as our
The
date.
date?
It says date of construction dot 100%.
That is the date that we agreed to use.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have a motion ready for that at the
9/6,
moment.
dated
I just have a line at the moment,
Oh,
because I
okay.
didn't have the date.
Yeah, 9/6 for North and 9/20 for Norton. Yeah, because all that has to align and be
Yeah.
before the date of the approval.
I'll add that into the motion.
Can I ask one quick question?
Sure.
Something that came up last week. How are we handling, this is a relatively minor grand scheme, but the house on Jarvis, the utilities, Public Works was asking me with respect to paying the Eversource bill, we gotta fill the oil. Who pays that?
We were thinking you would.
Well.
Keep it in your name.
Is that what you were thinking?
Well, you pay for it either way.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I
You're
was
gonna pay
saying.
for
That's
it,
why
so
I
you
didn't know
want
how it
it.
affects the committee and our budget in terms of, I mean, I know it's not a huge
If
dollar.
it goes
but-
through us, we put our fee on it, right? If it goes through you directly, then there's no fee. And it's the
Right.
same cost.
No
It's a
reimbursement.
cost of, it's not reimbursable.
Well, if it's going through you, you won't be able to get a
That's the
reimbursement.
point, I guess, is do we
Yeah,
care?
it's part of the construction costs, which
Right.
normally you would.
And we don't have a budget
If
for it.
it's,
is
if
all
it's
I'm
in their
saying.
contract, then it's reimbursable.
Mhm.
But if it's going through the town, then it's not gonna be reimbursable.
Right. So what should we do?
I don't know, do we wanna look at the math?
Get the town bills in.
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at the reimbursement rate of what it would be marked
I
up,
think
it
we
would
probably,
be
yeah,
the same
absolutely,
as doing.
sure,
Alright.
even if the market is, what,
It's only like one and something.
yeah, I mean,
that's-
you're gonna get somewhere at 45, 46%, something like that, so
1.75,
yeah,
something like
the
that.
math
It's
is
all
gonna
from
be,
memory.
it's not gonna be different.
We can talk about it, yeah,
Yeah.
I can run it by
Yeah.
Jeff or something to knock it out. He came up, they asked how to pay, I said, go ahead and pay it, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I had a couple of people ask me about the house in front of Norton. Has there been any decisions what's being done? with that?
Yeah, we're scheduling, well, we were supposed to have a meeting on that, similar night, it was one of the same nights that we're having one of these joint meetings, I think we're moving a council meeting to discuss, actually Chapman School, Darcy School, and also that, just kind of the disposition of property in the future. But it is, we're leaning towards, it is set up and it's been, the way that we subdivided it, it's a parcel that is sold, and I think that's what we're about to do.
With the house, or did the town take the house down and just sell the property?
I think just sell the property.
Okay.
But ultimately up to the council.
We'll see.
We have, it's just,
And is there a committee starting up about the name of the North End School?
yeah, that was also one of the meetings, that was gonna be scheduled in September, but it was on a conflicting night with this, so we're looking for some other dates.
Okay.
If you could let them know, I prefer just the K for my middle initial.
Yeah, okay, just
Not the
right,
whole
got
name,
it.
okay? So-
Understood, yeah.
Wait till they do the statue.
Yeah.
You might get the elevator machine room. That one, we can put your name on.
Put that in the minutes. I'll take
It might be in crayon, but it's.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Sure.
Second?
Yes.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you all.